All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking an absolutely fascinating story, the journey of a guy named Alex. And look, we hear stories about wealth all the time, right? But this one is different. It strips away all the noise and breaks down the exact blueprint of going from literally grinding poverty to becoming a millionaire. We're going to look at the raw, fundamental truths here, the mindset shifts, the daily habits, the really crushing failures, and of course, the ultimate triumphs. So if you've ever wanted a clear, step-by-step look at how intense ambition actually plays out in the real world, you are definitely in the right place.
Now, the central conflict of Alex's story actually starts in the mind. It's a massive psychological hurdle. On one hand, you've got this deeply ingrained, kind of toxic mindset in his environment. People like us stay poor forever. It's essentially a collective surrender to their circumstances. But then, living right there in that exact same environment, facing those exact same daily struggles, Alex had this radically different, fiercely empowering ambition. He told himself, one day I will change my life and make my parents proud. And this wasn't just some fleeting wish, it was his anchor. Before he could ever build a business, he literally had to build a mental fortress against the status quo of his own village.
So that brings us to section 1, dreaming big amidst doubt. Because, dreaming big in a vacuum, that's easy. But doing it when everyone around you is literally laughing in your face, that is a totally different beast. People would say things like, "You, a millionaire? That's impossible." And these weren't just harmless jokes, they were direct hits to his vision. It's wild to think about how easily that kind of constant mockery could have just crushed his dreams right on the spot. It really reminds us that when you're in the early stages of chasing massive success, it often looks completely ridiculous to the people around you. But Alex, he didn't cave. He refused to let their vocalized limits become his actual limits. Moving on to section 2, the engine of effort. So how exactly did he fight back against all that doubt? Well, it came down to a massive shift in behavior. While the rest of the village, the exact same people mocking him, by the way, were sleeping or just kind of wasting time, Alex was taking massive action. He was working multiple jobs, devouring books, and actively learning new skills. He wasn't just sitting around hoping for a better life, he was systematically building it while everyone else was off the clock. Because ambition without incredible, disproportionate effort, that's really just a daydream. And that brings us to Alex's core philosophy. He said, success doesn't come from luck. It comes from effort. I mean, that perfectly captures his staggering work ethic, doesn't it? It shows he had this unshakable belief that he was in control. He didn't look at wealth like some lottery ticket or a lucky break handed down by fate. For him, it was just math. Effort equals results. And when you adopt that kind of framework, you stop waiting for the perfect opportunity to just magically appear, and you start putting in the late nights to build that opportunity yourself. Let's pivot to section 3, learning from first failures. We really need to shatter this whole illusion of overnight success, because it is almost never a straight line up. If we trace Alex's timeline, you can actually feel the weight of his journey. From day one in that humble village, he enters this grueling, years-long period of just diligently saving money. I mean, imagine the sheer discipline that took. And his reward for all those years of sacrifice? He launches his first business, and it completely fails. Total collapse. Think about those villagers who mocked him. This is the exact moment they probably felt totally validated. But here's the thing, that failure wasn't a dead end. It was actually this critical middle chapter in his real-world education that pushed him right into his next phase of intense hard work. Faced with absolute ruin, Alex came up with this amazing reframe. He said, "I lost everything, but I learned something valuable." Wow. Instead of packing it up, going back to the village, and just accepting defeat, he looked at his failure as his absolute greatest teacher. Instead of throwing in the towel, he decided that every single mistake was just going to make him sharper. He literally extracted the data, left the emotional baggage at the door, and kept pushing. That right there, that is the hallmark of a truly resilient mind. Which brings us to section 4, the $1 million breakthrough. This relentless persistence, this total refusal to stay down, eventually sparked an unbelievable turning point. $1 million. After all those grinding years of hard work, after the mockery, after losing literally everything in that first venture, his new business just exploded. Customers started pouring in, expansion took off, and finally, he got the incredible news they had hit a staggering $1 million in revenue. The grind had finally paid off. That poor kid from the village had completely rewritten his reality. But you know what makes Alex truly remarkable? It isn't even hitting that massive number. It's his reaction to it. He simply said, "This is only the beginning." For him, Getting a modern office, buying a luxury home, and securing absolute financial freedom for his family, that wasn't the finish line. It was just a stepping stone. He didn't suddenly lose his hunger just because he traded a dim light bulb in a village for a luxury house. He stuck right to his core philosophy: dream big, work hard, and never, ever give up. And that leads into our final part, Section 5, True Success is Giving Back. Alex fundamentally redefined what hitting that millionaire milestone actually means. He didn't just hoard all that cash. Instead, he started helping poor children, donating back to his village, and making sure that other people could rise up right alongside him. He literally used his wealth to uplift the exact same community that once doubted him and laughed at his dreams. There was just an incredible level of grace and forgiveness in that. He proved that true success isn't just about getting rich, it's about who you bring with you. He became the catalyst to break the cycle of those toxic limiting beliefs we talked about at the very beginning. So if we distill this entire explainer down into an actionable formula, the moral of the story really rests on 3 main pillars. Number 1, hard work. That's the engine that actually creates momentum. Number 2, patience. Understanding that it might take years of saving and grinding, and it's definitely not going to happen overnight. And number 3, persistence. The absolute refusal to quit, even if you lose everything on your very first try. When you stack these 3 things together, that is the exact formula for turning even your biggest, most impossible-seeming dreams into a concrete reality. I want to leave you with this final thought to really chew on as you build your own path. When you finally reach your million, whatever that specific milestone looks like for you, who will you help rise with you? Thanks so much for tuning into this explainer today. Keep learning, keep pushing forward, and we'll see you in the next one.